mentioned before, I know that we understand, right, what QR codes are and what they can do for in general, but I can tell you there's a whole world out there, and Dallas today is going to be able to introduce us to some of those ways that we could do that. So, Dallas, your screen sharing now. He works at ESU9. Yeah, I've gotten to know him now in the last several months, so I really appreciate his work and how much he does for us here. Dallas, the space is yours. Just so you know, the screen you're sharing is the presentation slide. Is that what you're trying to show?
Yeah. Does it show? Is it showing
It shows the next one. Yeah.
the MEP or?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're seeing presenter view.
oh,
That's what it's called. Yeah, if you look at my screen, you can see what we can see. There you go.
let's see what we can do about that. This is my first time screen sharing this. So now can you, here, hold on.
That was right. You're right on it.
Okay. So if I do play from start, is it still what you want?
That works right there. All right.
Perfect.
I'm muting. You got this.
Awesome. I'm Dallas. I'm from the ESU9. I'm in the tech department, and I did a PD, in-house PD on Tech Bytes over QR codes, and I was invited to do it here. So I will get started. So QR codes, there's quite a bit you can do with these. If you scan the code that pops up here, this is actually the guest Wi-Fi code for the ESU9. So if you scan it, obviously not for you guys because you're not here, but it will connect you directly to our Wi-Fi. So QR stands for Quick Response Code, and it was invented in 1994. And believe it or not, this is considered a storage medium. So just like a floppy disk, flash drive, or anything else, it stores data on it. It can be used for several different things, your contact info, for websites, event information, whatever you really, if you can think about it, you could probably try to put it on there in some way. But those are the basic ways, the easy ways you could put data on there. So to break it down, you have these three big positions here, and that's what identifies it with your phone. After that, you have these alignment dots throughout the code. And then on every single one of these codes, in between the big squares, these are on, off, black, white, black, white. So if you think of each one of these dots as zeros and ones, and those are your timing dots. You have a quiet zone, which is green here, but usually it's white on the outside. And then these, believe it or not, these have error correction. So if a portion of this code's covered up, it'll still work. And the blue area is the version information. So that's the type of code that it's going to be. And the red area is the format version. So is it going to be alphanumeric, just numeric, just text? So moving on, there's two different types of codes. There's static and dynamic. Pretty much what I'm talking about today is all going to be static. Dynamic can be changed. Basically, it's just a URL that loads up, and then it takes you to the internet and then gives you what you want, compared to static, where the information is right on there. A static one can be created for free, and there's no internet needed when you scan it. Can't be changed, so once it's there forever. You lose the code and it's on a sidewalk, it's going to be there forever. Dynamic, you can go online, change it. Internet's required. Usually it's going to cost you some form of money to have it, but you could also just get a bit.ly URL and put it on, and you can change the website whenever, and I would consider that dynamic. So I put contact information on a QR code of mine. This is obviously not my real contact information, but if you scan it, it'll populate all this contact information, put it directly on your phone. So if you guys like to try it, go ahead and go for it. So
now, hey, Dallas, I hate to interrupt, but from a basics standpoint, how do you access the QR code? Okay, so obviously we use this like a smartphone, correct?
Yeah.
And is there a built-in app, or is there a place you go to get the app in order to?
Usually on the newer phones now, within a couple years ago, the QR code is built into the camera app. If your phone's a little bit older, you can download an app through the App Store or the Play Store, and you'll be able to do it that way. Also, Snapchat scans code. So if you have Snapchat,
Okay.
you can give that a try also.
So just go to like the App Store if you don't have one, and
Mhm.
QR code, or you could just look for that. What you said, your phone could have one, right?
Yep.
Okay. Great. I just wanted to make sure that in case we have some beginners here who haven't been using this, make sure we don't lose them. So thank you.
And
Yeah,
I
I
did
understand.
learn.
My mom has an older phone, so she can't, her phone does not let her take the QR code picture directly on the camera app. So she has to download a separate app to do it.
In Dallas, I remember I talked to a family once, and we were trying to use their QR code, and I figured out that sometimes some phones you need to actually allow it to scan for QR codes. So yeah, it varies a lot.
Interesting. So all the information that's on this code right here has my first name, my last name, and it has 3 of my phone numbers, home, work, and another one. I could put my email on there, my address, my work website, and job title and organization. So there you can fit a lot of info on this code, and I have my face covering up part of the code, but this code is still scannable. So now we'll move on to some security. What could be bad about the QR codes? Now, if you scan this code, people are most likely going to assume this is going to take you to the ESU9 website or the ESU9 Wi-Fi, something to do with the ESU9. But if you actually scan it, it doesn't take you there. So if you'd like to try it, you're welcome to. So the main thing is phishing is just like an email. Somebody drops one on a sidewalk, stamps it on a wall, makes it look legit, and somebody scans it, doesn't pay any attention to it, they can figure out what type of phone you're using or use ransomware and try to get into your phone. You wouldn't pick up a random flash drive, so just think of it that way. If it's a random code, kind of random flash drive, think of it that way. These can be placed anywhere. And before you actually open up the link, when you scan it, there should be a URL or some type of information before you actually click on it that tells you what the code actually is. Like my contact information should say contact info. A website should give you the URL. So just think before you scan. And if you didn't scan this code code takes you to weather.gov. So it has nothing to do with the ESU9 on it, but you can think it does because I put that logo there. Some fun facts: QR codes can be any color. There's many versions of them. The higher the version, the more data that can be stored on them. You can put logos on them, and they have error correction. So when I had my face on there or the ESU9 logo on there, there was actual error correction working because I was covering up part of the code. It can store 3 kilobits of data, which is not very much. But it still can store a little bit of data. And these codes that you're all going to see on the screen is all the error correction working. So you should be able to scan these codes depending on how well they show up on your Zoom. So even with the big thumbs up in the way, that code is still scannable. And with the X's covering up the QR codes, those are still scannable. I wouldn't click on them because I'm not sure exactly where the links go because I got these off the internet. But they go from 7% to 30% error correction. And the best I can explain it is it works like magic because it's a bunch of math involved and I don't quite understand how it works myself. So if it's somewhere that's going to be permanent on a wall, like a good poster, I wouldn't use too much error correction because the more error correction you use, the more dots there's going to be and stuff. Yes. So, and then 30%, I'd have that like on a piece of paper if something could be easily messed with or tampered with or ripped. So that kind of gets us towards the end of the presentation. If you guys have any questions, but we can do create your own QR code time now. So I put several links down if you would like to try them out.
And I gotta say, one of the main ones that I was pretty attracted to was the contact one that he showed right away. I just envisioned, and I've used it already on a couple of families, meeting a family and helping them kind of see the way that they can easily add my work contact information, the way they can access the website. If there's events that we host or if we want to invite them. I know Veronica is using these codes. Esteves is using the codes for like the face meetings, cafe meetings. So if families start getting familiar with them, which a lot of them are, they'll be able to see that we continue to use them to our advantage to help families just get on there pretty quick, just by with the taking of a picture.
One thing I will say with these QR codes, because I know, Cesar, you put yours on the back of your phone. If, let's say you're holding up your phone and somebody takes a picture of you and they can get that QR code off of it, all your information could be public to the world at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Just pointing that out there. I mean, it's a good idea, but
Yes, be careful with it. Correct. Mm-hmm.
so if you come in here, this is more like where your error correction is. You can choose it when you create a code. Also on Chrome, when you pop up here in the top right corner, you can download a QR code directly from here also. So if you're on a website and just want the QR code immediately, Google Chrome already gives that to you. You can change background colors, the size. So Zara, you think I'm missing out on anything, or do you have any other ideas?
I'll just say on there are websites that are free.
Yeah.
I learned this the hard way, and some of you know that. And some websites that they just allow you to create your own QR codes. So just be aware, because I did create some fancy ones with the nice websites, and then the trial ended, so I had to redo the QR codes, and I sent it out to you guys already. But just be aware of that.
I put a QR code on my business card, so I just tell people scan the card, and it puts it right in their phone. It'll populate all the information, so name, phone number, email, everything. So
yeah, just make sure it's your work one. That's
yeah.
I don't know. Anyone got any questions? Or has anyone used them before? Are you guys using them now?
We've used them for like our PAC meeting links, since even though we were in person last month for our PAC meeting, we offered it virtually also, and we had some people Zoom in. My question, and maybe it was on there, I didn't play around with it yet, but is there a time frame then? Like if I want the PAC meeting link to only be active until the day of the PAC meeting, then you can make it so that that Zoom link isn't active anymore on the QR code?
What I would do in that situation, I don't know if you guys use Bitly at all or some type of URL shortener. You could try that. So when they scan it, it's a URL shortener, and then it directs it straight to Zoom. And then after that, you can go onto that URL shortener and break it, and so quits being used. Otherwise, the dynamic QR codes would be the way to go about it, which costs money. And I don't know if the shortened URLs cost money at all or not. And then on Zoom might give you an option to cut the link off after a certain amount of time, but I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah, I think when we set it up in Zoom, it probably is, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But I'm a Zoom admin, so I get random emails sometimes saying this Zoom link is public on the web and needs to be changed or something. But it's a different ESU, so I guess it doesn't pertain to me. So, otherwise, QR codes wise, that's all I've got. I mean, you can learn quite a bit from them by using them. So,
Yeah.
and if you want to try games or something, you can do that with QR codes.
To mess around with it,
Mhm.
mess around with it. See what you guys could do for your next meeting, next resource. Maybe it's a way to promote it, make it easier for people to get to that. If you're hosting an event, if you're hosting a meeting, you name it. I feel like we can really use them for a lot of things. I will start implementing them more as we do. And I hope that you guys now know what QR codes are. No one has any more questions or comments?
I guess my only comment is I figured it would be on the table of a restaurant a lot sooner than what it took. Like it took a pandemic for it to happen. And I figured years ago it would have been, your menu would have been scannable. So, but now we have that option.
Virtual world.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if no one has anything else, I gotta say that was nice and quick, right?
Yep, straight to the point.
All right, cool. Well, thank you all for taking part of your morning with us. Make sure to, if you have any concerns or you play around with it, you have more questions. If we can't answer them, I'll give you Dallas's contact info, but the real one.
Yeah.
Take care. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Dallas.
Yep.
And I'll remind everybody before you go off, make sure that you follow the link or the QR code to fill out the evaluation for today's training. Don't forget